Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff. We have a big match coming up Sunday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta United against LAFC. And it has been a very eventful week, which we are very excited to recap, Jason, because there was a lot of good stuff that came out of last Saturday at Columbus. And then the hiring of a new manager in Gonzalo Pineda. So lots to get into, but I think lots to be excited about this week for Atlanta United.
Yeah, we'll get into the Columbus game here in a minute because there's a lot of exciting things that happened on the road in that one. But Gonzalo Pineda, the deal is done. He is joining Atlanta United. He'll be in town next week. We learned that he had a positive COVID test, and that's what took him off the sidelines for Seattle's Leagues Cup game against Tigres. So he'll be joining the team after the Wednesday match next week against Toronto, ahead of the DC United match. But he's already kind of around, especially virtually right now, already talking to the coaching staff. Rob Valentino will stay on and be an instrumental part of that. He's already talking to players. Gonzalo Pineda is already, becoming part of the fabric of Atlanta United, and I'm excited to see him become a member of the Five Stripes because it feels like he kind of has that Atlanta United spirit at heart.
Yeah, I agree. And he's never been a head coach before, but I think he's very confident about his background. And why shouldn't he be? A longtime assistant for Brian Schmetzer, very successful coach with the Seattle Sounders. Of course, Pineda had an illustrious playing career in Liga MX. He also played for El Tri. He went to a World Cup with them in 2006. So I think he's someone that the players are really going to respect and the fans are really going to like. I liked hearing from him on Thursday, and I want to go back now to some of the things he talked about on Thursday. For example, he's got a great situation in Seattle, so why was Atlanta the right situation for him to go to?
Well, I don't think they have to say anything special. I mean, when you are offered Atlanta United, I mean, you go for it. I mean, it's a young club because they've been here just for a short period of time in MLS, but they already won many trophies. They were successful since the very beginning. They have had fantastic players. They have now a fantastic group of players. They have a fantastic stadium, great fans, which is one of the main things I was bummed to join the club is because of the fans. The stadium, the training facilities, again, is a whole package with Atlanta United that is attractive for, I would say, many coaches, not just in MLS, but in the world. So I don't remember anything. Maybe Carlos or Darren can remind me, but I cannot remember anything special that thrilled me. I was already looking forward to that opportunity, and it was like that. First and foremost, passion, playing with passion, playing with intensity. I want a team that represents the fans, and that's the connection I want to build around the philosophy, the game model. The first thing, I want the players to play with passion. I want them to play when they were playing in academies and it was all about love for the jersey. I want that passion first and foremost. That is a must, and that is a given for the team. After that, obviously, we will have to work in organization, whether it's attacking, defending. I don't want to explain all my game plan now because probably you don't have time enough, but I want to play same as the club has been trying to play, attacking-minded football, and obviously try to be always on the front foot, always being the team that tries to create more chances and better chances than the opponent. But again, before that is the passion and playing with energy, same as the fans on the standings. We have to match that energy on the field and create that special connection.
I love to hear him talking about passion in that way. And one other thing that Gonzalo mentioned was watching Atlanta United too, and the passion that they had on Wednesday night with a late equalizer. And he mentioned that very early in his media availability, which was great to see that he's already getting engaged with those up-and-coming young players, mentioned the young talent at the club. You know, the tactics, and I know that question has come up a lot because Seattle has had some different approaches over the years. They're not always that big attacking team, although last season they averaged 2 goals a game. They can do it. They've been a little more pragmatic at times in deciding how to get results with what they have to work with. I think in Atlanta, what Gonzalo Pineda is going to have to work with is a lot of attacking talent. So it makes a lot of sense to find the best system to get the most out of that attacking talent while being responsible defensively to get the results and win those trophies that Pineda wants to bring to the ATL.
Well, Seattle will always attack when they sense vulnerability. So does Atlanta United. They attack when they sense vulnerability. But I like some of the things that I heard from Pineda on Thursday. He wants Atlanta United to be on the front foot. He wants them to play attacking soccer. He wants them to create more chances than their opponent. He wants them to create better chances than their opponent. These are all things we want to see here in Atlanta. I love the positivity. I really get the sense that Pineda is going to pick up very much where Rob Valentino is going to leave off as of next week after the Toronto match, where Valentino has done a really, really good job of attending to the mental aspect of this playing group. And that's something that Pineda talked about a couple times in his introductory press conference on Thursday, as well as the respect that he has for Rob Valentino, the job that he's done, and how encouraged he was at seeing what Atlanta United did last Saturday in Columbus.
Absolutely. And this was a kind of match that Gonzalo Pineda would like to see his Atlanta United play because they were on the front foot. They were creating chances on the road against the defending champions. Very early, 5th minute, Ezequiel Barco. That back heel from George Bello has a lot of sauce on it. Barco driving forward, plays the 1-2 with Bello, and Atlanta gets off to that big start. But they weren't done there. They kept attacking. That's what I love to see. Marcelino Moreno in 1v1 situations, 1v2 here, he doesn't care. Goes for the nutmeg, gets it, gets tripped up, earns the penalty. Barco steps up to the spot, buries it. 2-0. This is the thing that Atlanta had been missing all season long, were first half goals. Most of their goals have come in the second half. They got first half goals in Columbus. Now, look, Columbus is a proud side. They're not going to go away quietly. Jonathan Mensah gets to the spot here on this set piece, wins the header. Atlanta United has to do better defending set pieces. But when you can keep earning penalties via Marcelino Moreno, dribbling at players, earning those penalties, getting tripped up, and then he stepped to the spot on this one. You see the contact right there. Very easy decision to make. Moreno, this time, instead of Barco, gets room going the wrong way. 3-1 Atlanta. And with 3 goals, Atlanta's in a good spot. They saw this thing out. And look, this is something that can build confidence, in my opinion. That was one that was called back. There was another one that was called back. Everything that was called back was reviewed. Even Caleb Porter agreed with all of the decisions that were made. This is Alan Franco's foul that commits the penalty. You know, at that point in the match, not necessary. A little over-exuberant from Alan Franco. Columbus gets one more goal. It finished 3-2. But this is why, and we've talked about this throughout the season, Mike, this is why getting a third goal when you have a lead, not settling, is so important. And this game showed it. You know, Marcelino Moreno goes for another opportunity, earns another penalty, converts it. If you don't there, walking out of that 2-2 with a bad foul late, and you're going to feel really bad on the way back home. Instead, 3-2, you're not happy about giving up that last goal, but you created more of a cushion for yourself. Something Atlanta's been lacking all season long are those kinds of days where it's not just one goal that they have to scrap and claw for. It's getting a second, frankly, getting a third when it's on the cards.
Yeah, and, you know, you could probably look back at the home matches against Nashville and Philadelphia
100%.
as what could have been if they had gotten the third goal. In one of those matches, there was an apparent penalty that wasn't called that would have produced the third goal, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'll just say this. I thought the 3-2 scoreline on Saturday was actually a little bit unflattering for Atlanta United.
Yeah,
when you look
because
at
of
the
that late goal.
statistics, Atlanta United dominated the match in terms of shots on target, almost double Columbus's shot total, more than double their shots on target. The XG was wildly in favor of Atlanta United, key passes in favor of Atlanta United. So when you look at those statistical metrics, the fact that Columbus had only one shot in the second half and it was the penalty.
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, again, it tells you it was 3-2 that felt maybe a little bit more like 3-0 or 3-1.
3-1.
And I also want to shout out Cubo Torres for doing a brilliant job at helping to see that match out. That sequence he had really right below us. We were right on top of that corner at lower.com field in Columbus. The job he did shielding Columbus players away from the ball and then just kind of continuing to flick it off Columbus players to earn corners. That was a brilliant job by a veteran player, Cubo Torres, to help Atlanta United see that match out.
It's part of winning games. You know, it's not the sexy part of winning games. People want to look at the goals and the nutmegs and the back heels, but you've got to have some of that, what Cubo Torres brought to the table in that moment where you're running clock, you're holding the ball in the corner, you're showing a lot of patience. You know you're going to get kicked, punched, elbowed, maybe somebody comes flying in, studs up, all of the above, and you have to do what you have to do for the team. Cubo Torres has not scored goals for this team, and he's more frustrated than anybody else in that. But he's found ways to contribute, and that feels, maybe you look at that and you're like, it's a little thing. I think it was a big thing, and I think when you saw the reaction from the players and his teammates to what he did, you saw how much it meant.
Well, Barco scored twice and very nearly had a hat trick. You have to tip your cap to Aloy Room. In the second half, Barco had a curler that Room had to tip off the post. Otherwise, it would have been Barco's first career hat trick. But it feels like, Jason, that Ezequiel has really picked up where he left off in Tokyo, where he played very well for Argentina at the Olympics.
Yeah, let's start with the first goal where he picks up the ball at midfield and drives forward, keeps going looking for the space. He's not just running in a straight line. He's looking for the space and he's looking for a combination. Finds it with George Bello. The confidence to step up and take the penalty. But he was also involved in creating for others as well. He's starting to build that relationship with Marcelino Moreno. And those two, that's the big save from Aloy Room. Get another look at it here on the pass from Moreno. That's a miraculous save. Barco nearly chipped in this free kick. That's a delicate chip because it's right at the top of the 18. There's not a lot of space. But Barco in Montreal as well, creating combinations. He's creating those societies on the field. Now, this one was a little bit of a straight line run, but he still has the weighted pass to Joseph to create an opportunity. Barco has all of the tools, and we've seen all of those tools many times come to fruition. That pass is a lot more difficult than it got credit for, by the way, with the outside of the right foot. That's a nasty pass from Ezequiel Barco. He does things that we almost take for granted because, we know how talented he is. We know how good he is. What you hope is that he can stay healthy and get on a run because he's got players that he can play with now. Moreno, those two are more complementary than you might think. A lot of people have thought they're too similar. They can play off of one another. They're both very smart players. Joseph obviously can play off of both of them. Now you're going to be adding Luis Araujo to the mix. He's a little bit different kind of player, so I think he's an even easier complement. But the situation for Gonzalo Pineda will be, how can I position those four deadly attackers who all have some different skill sets but have some overlapping skill sets? How can I position those four to be able to terrify every defense in Major League Soccer? It's an embarrassment of attacking riches for Atlanta United. I can't wait to see how Pineda uses all four of them.
One of the things I love doing about the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff, Ryan Little and Kat Gutierrez, who produce all the video for us that we insert into the Countdown to Kickoff, a lot of times we see angles of things that we've never seen before. Yeah. That's the first time I've seen Joseph's goal in Montreal from behind the net.
Yep.
Not only was it a tremendous pass by Barco, That was a curler from Joseph. I mean, where we were sitting in Montreal, I did not detect that until just seeing that angle now. That was a much better goal than it looked live to us sitting at midfield in
a much
Montreal.
more
So
difficult goal than it
yes,
looked like live
yes.
because the pass from Barco is not an easy one to hit at full speed. And the goal from Joseph, the curl on it, that's a more difficult shot than it looked like from our angle.
Well, shout out to Ryan and Kat. That's a great angle. Like I said, that's the first time I've seen this. So now let's go to the proving ground. It's been a very busy week for the Twos as well. And Gonzalo Pineda talked about their performance against Indy 11 and then their performance again a couple days later. In coming back and getting a draw in Kennesaw, the spirit that the Twos are showing right now. And on top of it, what a performance Sunday night for Tyler Wolff.
Yeah, let's start with the 6-2 win over Indy 11. And this is from the kickoff. Usually, we don't show an extended run off of the kickoff. But notice the clock. Notice the ball in the back of the net. 12 seconds, Tyler Wolff. Pressure. And that was the word of the day against Indy 11. And it was something that Jack Collison said that they worked with a lot over the week. Great goal there from Tyler Wolff, his second of the night in 5+ minutes. But the pressure that they had, this is it again, Wolff jumping into a passing lane early in the second half, picking off a pass, hat trick in 49+ minutes for Tyler Wolff. They didn't let Indy get settled. Indy came back because they're a talented team. They got a couple of goals, but Atlanta was in complete control. What a cross from Caleb Wiley. Darwin Mateus with a difficult header running through. Darwin Mateus has been in great form lately, the Venezuelan forward in his first year with Atlanta United too. Wolff added an assist, really poor defending, but a tough header from Mackie Job because you don't really catch that until the last second that it's going to get through, and he's able to put it on target. But Atlanta United too consistently forced Indy into turnovers. And in this goal right here, very late in the game, it's 6-2. It's David Mejia, an Atlanta United Academy product. Mejia scored again in the midweek with an even more important goal in stoppage time to get the 2-2 result against OKC Energy. Mejia is a player who's been injured. He's missed some time. We saw flashes of him last season. He's got something about him. There's some players that you see that they're strong. There's players that you see that are fast. There's soccer players that you see on the ball that are technical and it's hard to get the ball off of them. Then there's guys who just have that extra something. Mejia's got that extra something. And 2 goals from him this week, one in garbage time, but you get that confidence to then, and the goal against OKC was very difficult because he had come on as a right back, which he had never played before, wins the ball in his own half, plays it to Robbie Mertz, who was the man of the match in the OKC match. Mertz had a great goal for himself. Mertz beats a defender on the dribble. Mejia makes top of the 18 on one end to the top of the 18 on the other end run in stoppage time. Has a little bit of a difficult pass that he has to get out from under his feet. And for a young player in that moment, how many times do you see them kind of snatch at it, kind of rush it? He gets settled under pressure and hits a left-footed shot into the back of the net to rescue that point, something that Gonzalo Pineda mentioned. David Mejia is a guy that you're going to be seeing more and more for the Twos, a guy who's emerging, Wolff growing in confidence. Somebody like Robbie Mertz could be an MLS-level talent. I think Robbie Mertz now being healthy, finally getting a goal to go with all the hard work. Chris Allen playing very, very well. George Campbell was incredible in the OKC match on the ball. This is a really fun team to watch, and I just can't recommend enough coming out to Kennesaw to see this team play when they're back at home. Now, they got 4 in a row on the road, and they're in a playoff race. So these 4 games, as much as they've shown character lately, these next 4 on the road, they've got to get some results.
How tough is the match coming up Saturday night at SKC2?
It's a weird one because Sporting Kansas City 2, a lot of those players played for SKC in the Leagues Cup match this week. So they didn't really have the midweek off. They played, and they got beat badly by Club Leon, a mostly full-strength Club Leon. Where's their head going to be? You know, this feels like an opportunity for Atlanta United 2 to go out there, but that matchup has been a tough one for the Twos this season. Enoch Mushagalusa for Sporting Kansas City 2 is a player to watch. He's a guy that I think will make his debut with Peter Vermes' side sooner rather than later. He has killed Atlanta this season. They've got to be better defending him on the dribble. He has caused them problems. The right side of Atlanta's defense against Mushagalusa specifically, that'll turn the game.
That'll be Saturday night on ESPN+. Let's turn our attention back to Major League Soccer now and the results from last weekend where, again, we had quite a few draws. But you know what really jumps out to me on this page here, Jason? Two teams that got off to slow starts but are playing well. Dallas with the 2-0 win over Austin. And look out down south at Inter Miami. That's a good 2-1 victory over Nashville for them.
Yeah, Indiana Vasilev, who is from South Georgia. He's on loan from Aston Villa. He gets the late winner, and they're 4 in a row without a loss right now. Miami, after kind of cratering there for a minute, has started to come back and get results. San Jose has done the same thing, too. They've started to get results after a really bad run. Dallas, same thing. Some teams are starting to turn it around, and we're at that point in the year where some of the teams that had a great start are getting worn down a little bit. Seattle's been worn down a little bit. They had the weekend off from league play, and they got a big win in League's Cup, but their league form up to that point had a little bit of a dip. I'm most interested. Sporting Kansas City went to Colorado last week, and it was a scoreless draw, and Kansas City rotated some people because they've played a lot of games. They're pretty beat up, as Peter Vermes talked about after the League's Cup loss. Can they maintain their performances in the Western Conference? I don't know if they can, and who's going to jump up there? Keep an eye on the LA Galaxy. Chicharito is supposed to be back this week. They've got some other additions. Really curious to see if the Galaxy can push their way into that conversation at the top of the West.
And meanwhile, at the top of the East, New England, kind of a statement-making 2-1 win over Philadelphia. Revolution have just been so tough to break down in Foxborough this year. And as we're beyond the halfway point of the season now, New England kind of in the driver's seat for the Supporters' Shield, at least at this time. Certainly in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed in the East, which brings us to action coming up this weekend in Major League Soccer. There was League's Cup and CONCACAF Champions League on the midweek. It did not go exceptionally well for the MLS teams, at least to this point. But here's a look at the slate for this weekend. And I'll tell you, I like that Nashville-D.C. match, something to keep an eye on for Atlanta United because they'll play D.C. next weekend. But D.C. United has played very well. Nashville coming off the disappointing loss to Miami. That one jumps out to me. You have the Cascadia as well, and you have Miami maybe in kind of a prove-it situation now, Jason, against New York City.
Yeah, this is an opportunity for Miami going up to face NYC, who played in the League's Cup and played a pretty strong lineup in League's Cup. And it was a game that was delayed. It finished very late. They lost in penalties. Did they have a bit of a letdown here against a Miami team that is in good form right now and got a big boost with that late goal from Vasilev? I'm also looking at the Portland-Seattle game. Obviously, that's a game we always look for every time it's on the schedule. 10 o'clock Sunday night out at Providence Park. I'm curious because Portland, I thought, was starting to get it together, and it's kind of stalled out a little bit. They need this one pretty badly, in my opinion. Can they get it? It's going to come down to Felipe Mora if they do. If he can find the goals, I think they will. Outside of that, I'm not sure if Portland has enough to compete in the Western Conference. They've been a little bit disappointing this season. Montreal hosting a little bit of a reeling Red Bulls side. Montreal can get back into the win column with that. And that Galaxy trip to Minnesota. Minnesota's never beaten the LA Galaxy before in their history. Chicharito is supposed to be ready, and those other additions, they're hoping on visas. They've got their fingers crossed just like we do here in Atlanta when it comes to Luis Araujo. So if the Galaxy can get to full strength, they're a team to watch, and I think that can start with a win over Minnesota.
Well, meanwhile, LAFC, I mean, this is really a big match for both teams coming up Sunday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Atlanta United trying to get to the playoff line. They're 6 points back right now. LAFC is 7th in the West. They're right on that line, and they're falling a little bit. They are winless in their last 4, and suddenly now, Jason, they're conceding a lot of goals.
Yeah, back-to-back losses for LAFC. A draw before that. Let's look back at some of the goals that they have conceded. This was the Minnesota match that finished 2-2. A 1v1 breakdown, Minnesota gets the goal. This is late in stoppage time. LAFC trying to see out a 2-1 lead. And you can see players finding space. That's the thing that would be worrying Bob Bradley to that. Dribbling out wide to the right, finding space to put in a hopeful ball. They get it. This is just a calamity of errors with Sporting Kansas City getting the opening goal at Bank of California Stadium. It's a young goalkeeper for LAFC. It's a young backline, little makeshift right now. Those kinds of mistakes will happen. Players popping up into open spots in the 18. Those things will happen when you're dealing with a lack of continuity defensively. Again, wide open in the 18. Easy to take that out of the air and put it on frame. Another one. I mean, that's a clean header at the top of the 6. Really no pressure on the header. And that's goal number 4 for Sporting Kansas City. This is the San Jose game, a set piece near post. Goalkeeper has to do better in that, but he's got to get some help at the near post from his defenders as well. This is the second goal for San Jose. Little bit of an individual breakdown, but the late run. He's the first one to the spot right there. Everybody else is late. A lot of space that LAFC is conceding right now. And you look back at their last starting lineup, Diego Palacios at left back, Tristan Blackman, Jesus Murillo at center back, and Moon Hwan Kim at right back. Blackman is a converted defender and an even more converted center back. With the injury to Eddie Segura, they're not where they need to be. Tomas Romero has become the goalkeeper for this group. Cisniega has played the season as well. Romero's in his first professional season coming over from Georgetown. That's a lot in that back 4 plus the goalkeeper. When you look at the front 6, talent. Edward Atuesta, Jose Cifuentes, Francisco Janela, Carlos Vela's back playing 90 minutes now. They just added Cristian Arango up top. Brian Rodriguez is back into this team. Of course, Diego Rossi. Talent in the front 6. Mark Anthony Kaye is gone, and maybe that takes a little bit of the steel out of the midfield. And the back line's a problem. There will be space for Atlanta to exploit on Sunday.
Well, Atlanta United has scored 7 goals over their last 3 matches. LAFC has conceded 8 goals in their last 3 matches. It's been more than 2 years, 2 full calendar years since these teams last played. But in 2018, Atlanta United scored 5 goals. In 2019, it was a 4-3 game. So the meetings between these teams historically have produced high-scoring games. The one thing we know about LAFC is they're going to want to come out and play. Okay, they're not going to put everyone behind the ball and bunker. They're going to want to play. So I get the feeling there is the potential for quite a few goals to be scored in this match. I think at the very least, there's going to be a lot of chances. I would put the over-under. This is not my prediction, by the way. But I'd put my over-under of key passes in this match combined between the both teams over under 30. I really think it's going to be that kind of match. There's going to be a lot of chances coming both ways. And the goalkeepers, Romero or Cisniega for LAFC and Guzan for Atlanta United, I think they're going to be busy on Sunday.
Yeah, I think they will too. I think there will be a lot of opportunities because LAFC will commit numbers forward. And we know the talent of Carlos Vela. He can make magic happen. But there's going to be space for Atlanta's attackers, both on the counter and in the run of play, because I don't think LAFC is a good defensive team. They're just not. So Atlanta, with finding goals right now and getting Barco and Moreno into really good form running at players, I think looking back at those highlights from LAFC, seeing the space to operate in, but also seeing a little bit of struggles in 1v1 situations. Barco and Moreno have been winning those duels consistently. And don't discount Joseph Martinez in those situations either. Joseph is a much better dribbler than he gets credit for. And what I'm looking forward to the most, something we saw in Columbus and talked about on the broadcast, Jackson Conway stayed up very high. That's kind of his game. He doesn't drop into the midfield a whole lot to get on the ball. Cubo Torres did more of that, but not as much as we generally see Joseph Martinez do. Maybe did they notice something, and with the possibility of Luis Araujo coming into this team, maybe you don't need the forward to drop as deep as they have right now. In previous years, with previous setups, that was more of a necessity. Right now, with the possibility of an attacking three of Luis Araujo, Ezequiel Barco, Marcelino Moreno, maybe Joseph Martinez can stay high, stay fresher by staying up high, and exploit the space that a team like LAFC is going to give him to operate in. I want to see if maybe there's a little bit of a tweak in that kind of positioning.
Okay, let's get to our formal predictions now, which, by the way...
I liked your prediction on the key passes. I like that.
All right, can I go with that?
If you want to go with it, you can, because that's really bold. I like it.
All right, well, yeah, what I have found is the bolder the prediction, the more likely it is to come true, for some reason. I mean, we killed it on the Orlando match. I said goal from outside the 18. There were two. You said
I had Moreno scoring in that game.
You had Moreno scoring, which happened. Then last week in Columbus, I said Atlanta United 2-1 out shooting Columbus. That almost happened. It was 17-11. And really, technically, shots on frame are the only metric that really should count. And Atlanta United did outshoot them on frame 2-1.
You know,
so
you didn't say that, count, right? Though. You didn't say that.
No, but I can say it now. I mean, it's not like we're keeping score or anything like that. Like, I'm not going to win a gift certificate for getting the most predictions right. But,
wait a minute.
But you got yours right again for Columbus with the early goal, correct?
I thought I was winning a gift certificate. Man, now I'm disappointed. We'll send your prediction to VAR, and we'll see what comes back on that one next week. Yeah, mine was a goal in the first 20 minutes in Columbus, and got that from Ezequiel Barco very, very early. So I'm 2 for 2 the last 2 weeks. I'm on a little bit of a roll here. Where are you going this time around?
Well, the key pass thing is a bonus pick. Over under 30 combined key pass. But that does not count. Ryan, don't put a graphic in. This is my official prediction. I think Atlanta United has been flirting with a statistic. They've come very, very close in a couple matches. They've certainly come very, very close in the second 45 minutes of a couple matches. 90% passing accuracy. They've been flirting with it. Now, that's a big number. That might be a little too bold. So I'm going to give myself a 2 percentage point cushion, if that's okay. I think Atlanta United is going to pass at 88% or better on Sunday, and I say that for two reasons. Jason talked about the space that LAFC tends to concede defensively. Jason also talked about the societies right now that are developing on the pitch. Barco, a big part of that. I think the two come together Sunday, and we see Atlanta United very close to 90% passing accuracy. I'm going to say 88% or better.
I like it. I am going to stay on – I like to focus on players that I think will have big days in these kinds of picks. And there's a player who didn't play in Columbus who I think will come back and have a big day against LAFC, and it's Joseph Martinez. I think specifically he will have a big day in that he will have a goal and an assist in this match. Goal and assist for Joseph Martinez against LAFC. One, because I think there will be space for him to operate in the 18. And Barco and Moreno and others are going to be able to find him in that space. Two, Joseph has shown that ability to combine and those 1-2s, and he's been really close in previous games lately with sending someone in. He had a great ball into Eric Lopez where he was saved. He's had multiple situations with 1-2s that have nearly created goals. I think that comes good, again, because of the space that Atlanta is going to be able to exploit. Joseph Martinez, at least one goal and at least one assist on Sunday.
All right, you saw me looking down because I had to look it up really quickly. I'm like, when was the last time Joseph had an assist? He actually has way more assists in his career than I perceived, including 2 as recently as last year in the CONCACAF Champions League. So he had 3 MLS assists 2019, 6 in 2018. So your assist prediction is not as outrageous as I first thought. So we're going to see. If Joseph has a goal and an assist, that means Atlanta United scores at least 2. It's going to be very, very hard to beat Atlanta United at home when they score 2 goals or more. They've played to some draws in that situation, but it's going to be very, very hard to beat Atlanta United at home if they score at least 2. So I like the prediction. And it's going to be 4 o'clock for the kickoff on Sunday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta United and LAFC. We will find out hopefully soon if Luis Araujo can play. That might be a game time decision, but we're keeping our fingers crossed. And this will be one of 2 matches in which Rob Valentino will continue to act as the interim head coach before Gonzalo Pineda takes over next weekend at DC United. Jason and I will see you on the radio Sunday at 3:30 on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. If you're going to the match, we hope you have a great time Sunday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for Atlanta United and LAFC. And we want to thank you for joining us on the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff.